An important thing about pool training is you want to make sure that you're properly weighted, which can be a little tricky to get the right weighting, but your goal is going to be so that you're just going to float in the middle of the water column and then slowly rise to the surface. So if you have too much weight, you're going to be sinking down to the bottom. You don't want that. If you don't have enough weight, then you're going to be floating up way too quickly. It's trying to find that sweet spot of where you're just floating in the middle of the water column and then slowly lifting to the surface. The way we'll do this is we'll put on some weight, see how I travel, and all you're going to do is just do a gentle like push off the wall with both feet, and then just glide in a streamlined position. So you want to have your hands above your head, your arms in line or behind your ears, and you want to maintain that nice streamlined position with your chin just slightly tucked, and see how far you can glide with the amount of weight you have on, and kind of feeling your body position to, is my top too heavy or too light? Are my feet too heavy or too light? So I've got a combination of neck weights and weight belts with different amount of weights that we can kind of play around with and figure out what the weighting's gonna be. So we'll go with just a weight belt to start. This has got 3 pounds on it. I'm not wearing a wetsuit, so if you were wearing a wetsuit, that would obviously affect how much weight that you're gonna wear. All right, and since there's 3 pounds, I have them evenly distributed, 1 on each hip and then 1 in the middle, so that you're equally distributed all the way around. I'm just gonna push off and see how I float in my streamlined position. So on that one, you could tell that when I started to float up, I was kind of coming at this angle. So that means that my waist was a little too heavy and I didn't have enough weight up top. But I was floating up pretty slowly, so it seemed like an okay amount of weight. The problem is just the distribution of the weight. We'll try a neck weight next. So we'll lose the weight belt and try the neck weight. So you can kind of see the other direction. So we'll try it with just the neck weight. So as you saw on that one, way too heavy. Just went face first right into the bottom of the pool. So obviously 4-pound net weight is not the way to go for this one. So now we're just gonna try 2 pounds on a weight belt and see how that goes. That one, you saw that I was still kind of like sinking with the hips. My head was coming up first, and I was coming up to the surface faster than I would like. It was a little too quick. So I think the proper weighting would be the 2-pound weight belt and then have a 1-pound neck weight. Because the first weight belt that I used had the 3 pounds. That seemed like it was coming up at the right level of speed. Just need it to be evenly distributed. So 1-pound neck weight, 2-pound waist belt. And then, if that still doesn't feel right, then maybe do 2 pounds on the neck and 1 pound on the belt. And you just play around with it till you get it right. Another thing to keep in mind when doing these is you want to take your peak inhale like you would if you were actually training dynamics. If you take less than that, that's going to mess with your weighting. So make sure you take your full diaphragmatic inhale, your peak inhale, doing your segmented breathing so that you can get your full breath and then properly weight from that point.